So thank you so much for joining today. I just wanted to go over a few things. Welcome to the LinkedIn channel, and we are basically trying to interview experts in different career fields around the world to understand each profession in depth. So high schoolers that are transitioning from high school to real life know what their options are. So Mrs. Jafar, who we have here today, would you please like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Nusrat Jafar, and I'm a designer and a project manager. I do freelancing and contracting work for architects, structural engineers, and for different projects, commercial, residential. And I do work in East Coast, and I do in the Valley too, in Arizona.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and welcome to the interview today. So let's start with the first question.
Thank
So
you.
when did you start being interested in your career and what inspired you?
I was, I think growing up, I was more interested in interiors. I used to change the layout of my room and just change the placement of the furniture. That's how the interest started. And I used to do this throughout the whole house. I'll change the placement. So it started as an interior design initially, and I'll change the color in the room, change the furniture placement, change the drapery and stuff like that. So that's what led to finally getting into architecture. So that's where the starting point was in my career.
Wow. So,
During
yeah, that's really interesting. Was that when you were like young or like,
Yeah, I think I was in I was like 14, 15, 16-year old, and I used to every year during fall and during spring, I used to just change each room in the house, just a different placement of furniture and same artwork and stuff like that, but just like different placement. It just felt totally new space. So that's how I started being interested in interior design and architecture field.
oh yeah, that's really cool. I feel like a lot of high schoolers at that age, and I feel like we can tell what we kind of want to do from like the daily actions or habits we have and what we really find passion and enjoy doing in life. So that's really interesting. The next question that I have for you is what is the education or like degree requirement to be an architect?
I took a unusual career path because I'm originally from India, from New Delhi, and I went to Delhi University of Delhi, and I had a Bachelor of Arts. And when I finished my Bachelor of Arts, when I was in first year, and that's when I thought, I'll be going towards architecture. So I already enrolled into my program, and it wasn't as easy as US, where you can just switch, easily from one program to another. And the advice I got from my elder brother was, he said, just finish your program, what you're enrolled in, and then after that, you can do this architecture, design, whatever you want. So I finished my Bachelor of Arts, and then I went to a design school. It was like more like an institute. So I went for like a year and a half diploma, and it was basically just doing drafting and design. So, and it had a lot to do with the like this civil, or I'll say like building structure and stuff like that. Not 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 to do with the design part. So that was the first time when I actually entered into the field of architecture. This was like I was around maybe 22 years old. So I finished my diploma, which was a year and a half, and then part of the diploma was you were supposed to go and finish like a 3-month internship to get the diploma, and that's what I did. I finished my diploma, and then I started working with the oldest practicing architect in New Delhi. He was like already retired, and he was kind enough to take me as an intern, and just kind of like learning on the job. I did a lot of it, and everything was by hand, so doing a lot of details, kitchen, bathrooms. He was doing a lot of hotels throughout northern India, so I was working on hotels and custom homes. So that's how I started my career. So
Oh,
little unusual path.
yeah, sounds like really interesting. So is it like, is this the same for every school, or is it kind of like vary depending on where you go to?
Like in US, just right after high school, you can go into a 5-year degree program in architecture. So you once you finish, and they do have a 6-year architecture program which is called IPAL, where you can finish the program and then soon after, because you have to get licensure to become, you can't call yourself an architect unless and until you have a license. So I'm still working on my license. I don't have a license yet, so I can't call myself an architect. I call myself designer.
A designer. Oh,
Yeah. So you finish your degree, 5 years. If you go for 5 years, and then you need 2 to 3 years of experience working in any architectural office. And then there's like a program called IDP, which is like you have to record your hours where you're working, whichever firm you're working in. And once you have around, I'll say 30, around close to 3,800 hours, you can do the paperwork and everything to sit for the exams. And you have to send it to the board. You have to send it to the NCARB, and you have to send it to your local board to say that you would like to take the exams. And then they'll go through your paperwork and everything, and recorded hours and everything, and then they'll send you an email saying that you're ready to go and you can take your exams, and then you go take your exams. And there's 6 exams at the moment, so you finish all the 6 exams, and then the state will grant you license.
wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that you should take so much tests to become an architect. Wow, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it is a process. I think the best way to start is, especially when you're in high school, because here there's so many more opportunities, like during the summer break and all, the best will be to go to any architectural office and ask them if they allow high schoolers to come and start, just volunteering, even if you want to just volunteer for like a month or a few weeks, because I think that will give you a real sense of what it is to be working as an architect in an architectural office.
Okay, so on this note, I wanted to, do you remember or kind of like generally what is the entry level salary of an designer or like in your profession?
When I started, that was like 25 years ago, right? It's been a long time. I mean, at that time, the salaries were very low, and I know the salaries have increased. And it depends where you are in the country as well. If you work in New York City or if you work in California, the salaries will be much higher compared to if you like in a small city. So I'll say anywhere between 50,000 and 65,000 average, plus and minus, as an entry level, architect.
Okay, nice, thank you. So the next question I have is, what skills are needed or qualifications are needed in order to succeed in your profession?
I'll say, uh, I mean, when you're starting, you will be going to, degree program, right? So you will be coming out of high school. So just like a basic high school math will be good. I think a lot of people they have a misconception. They think architects is all math, and it's not like that. So the structural engineer, he does all the calculation for the building structure, and architect does the designing. So they're two different things. But most of the people, they think that architects, they just crunch numbers whole day, and math is really important. I'll say you will need math, but it's like maybe like 10 to 15%. Any high school basic math will be a good starting point when you go starting college. And then like creative skill, to have creative skill and design skill. And you should know, especially when you're in the profession, you should know the building codes and, stuff like that. That's important, especially commercial and residential both. And good communication skills, listening skills, and just like to have a passion to. And I mean, you will need to know computer as well, right? Because when I started, everything was by hand, so it was like board drafting and stuff like that. But things have changed in the last 20 years, and everything is CAD based, and like 3D software, BIM modeling and stuff like that. So it'll be good to have. I mean, in college you have all of that. You will have CAD, you'll have the 3D software and all of that. That's like the basic of the program. So, I mean, those are the things. And then have artistic skills, design skills, listen to the client, be a team player. And you should be able to delegate work, especially when you're working in a bigger, if you're working for yourself, then you have to do everything like what I'm doing right now. But I mean, if you're in a bigger firm, so you can delegate work, be a good project manager, how to put the whole package together, not just architectural. Because I mean, you have to get the building permit, right, for any project before even the client can bid the project. So to put the building permit package together so that the city can grant the permit, you can have the permit to build it. You have a huge team. It's not just architect. You have architect, structural engineer. You might have a civil engineer who will do the grading and drainage on the site, how the water is going to run off of the property. Then you'll have mechanical engineer, plumbing engineer, and electrical engineer. So you'll have so many consultants on a project. So, and you have to put everybody's package together. You have to review as an architect, you have to make sure that everything lines up and everything is working together. And then you put the whole package together and you submit the package to the city. So the city reviews, and if everything is good, you get the city comments back. They will check and they'll make a comment, change this, oh, this is not right, and all of that. You fix all of that, you send it back to the city, then the city gives an approval. Then that's when you have the permit. Now the owner can hire a contractor, or bid the project, get at least 3 to 5 bids, depending on the size of the project, and then whoever they are comfortable with the budget. You have to make sure the design is within the owner's budget as well. And if not, then you have to redesign or cut the size of the project to make it work within the owner's budget. So there's a lot of things going back and forth. You have to keep in mind.
Wow, sounds like a lot of teamwork, which I did not really expect. That's
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I think the best for any high schooler will be to start in a architectural office as a summer intern, and for a month or 2 months, because that'll give you an idea, what everyone is doing and how to put a whole package together and what's involved. You will know the team. It's the owner, then the architect, there's a project manager, there's a structural engineer, there is a civil engineer, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, or if you have more consultants, depending on the complexity of the project. So you might have a AV consultant, or you'll have a visual, any other consultant who are required for the project, sprinkler, fireproofing, and stuff like that.
Mhm. So before you briefly mentioned about like technology, like it used to be by hand, and now you also use technology as like a tool, right? Is that right?
Yeah. It's same in when I started in mid 90s. I was doing drafting by hand. Everything was by hand, just sketches or doing the permit set. So even the you have to write it down, all the, like, even the text, you write, because it's all freehand, right? So you're writing it down, you're dimensioning it, everything freehand and stuff like that. But now CAD, everyone uses CAD, so, or they use some other kind of CAD program. So most of the companies use AutoCAD, or they use Revit, which is a 3D software. So it's when you're doing a floor plan or anything, it's generating a 3D model, and you can cut a section through any side, portion of the building, and it can give you a 3D view and stuff like that. And there's a SketchUp, and there's Chief Architect, there's so many different 3D programs.
Interesting. So the advancements of AI and technology is going to help make the work easier because then you don't have to do everything by hand. Or
Yeah, I mean, nobody does anything by hand anymore. This was like long time back. My day to day, I use AutoCAD for all my projects, and I have used. Sometimes I use the Chief Architect software for just the interior rendering, like the kitchen rendering and like a fireplace, great room rendering. That's what I've used so far. I used to use SketchUp for like a quick 3D modeling, but which I haven't used in a long time. So, but nobody does I mean, just like the initial sketches, when you're meeting with the client, it's just like, it's just in a sketch form. and then you go over, or unless sometimes the client will have a small sketch, just by hand, and then you just improvise on that, taking the scope of the project, and that what exactly are they looking for. If it's a house, how many bedrooms, how big the living room should be, and all of that. And the easiest is just to drawing it up as a sketch and then presenting it to the client. So once they start, they'll say, okay, we like this, but this room is too small, make the kitchen bigger or anything. So initially it's just like in a sketch form, and once the sketch is kind of like almost modified and the client is a little happy, then you start putting it in CAD and then cleaning it up and then start showing it to the client with the dimensions, the room sizes and stuff like that, showing the placement of the furniture, then all of that, so they can see how big the room looks. Because most of the people, they can't read drawings, they don't know. It's just black and white lines.
Mhm.
So sometimes you have to educate the client to to go over the whole what you're looking at and explain everything.
Mhm. So previously you said that you're a designer and you won't be called an architect until you get the license. So going along this line, what are the other possibilities or career advancements within this profession?
I mean, you can specialize in the area, depending what you want to do. If you want to go in commercial, like high-rise building, or you just want to do custom homes, or just tenant improvement, which is the tenant improvement is like the shell is already there. Like the new tenant moves in, it was like a pizza place, and now the pizza place, there's no more pizza place, so somebody else is moving in. Now it's going to be a beauty shop, or like a physician's office or a law office or things like that. So you can specialize in like daycare centers, or in universities, or church, depending what exactly you want. So the field is unlimited. You can pick and choose, and then you can specialize too. If you just want to do high-end residential, or you want to do commercial, or you want to do just banks, or like high-rise buildings, apartments, and things like that.
Okay, nice. So my next question is, what is your kind of day-to-day work life as an architect, and what do you like most about your job?
Uh, I think I like in the beginning, I didn't get a chance to, when I was working for bigger firms, I didn't get a chance to design that much. I was doing mostly putting the construction package together. So the client approved the design, and then you get the final design signed off from the client, and now you had to put the permit package together, submitting it to the city. So that's what I did. My almost 15, 18 years of career, where I'm putting the whole permit package together, working mostly as a kind of like a project manager, and sending the backgrounds to all the consultants. They are working on a project and coordinating with them, and doing my share of all the drawings and architectural drawings, coordinating and putting the whole package together and sending it to the city. Lately, in the last few years, I've started designing as well, like custom home and large remodel addition. And even the commercial to like law offices, dental office, and cafes, restaurants. And I'm really enjoying the design side of it, instead of just putting the construction package, somebody else has designed, and now you're just putting the whole package together. So I'm enjoying that side of architecture now.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I still do the whole construction package together, and meeting with the client, from the initial meeting to doing the survey, going and measuring the existing house if they're doing an addition, then coming up with the existing drawings, and then coming up with the new design, what the new design addition or remodel is going to look like. And once they approve, then put the whole package together, going through the whole consultants list, and coordinating and getting the whole permit package together. So
Mhm.
I'll say I'm really happy that now I have a chance to design my own projects.
Wow, that sounds really fun. I feel like I would also enjoy something like that. it makes sense.
Yeah, it takes, I'll say it takes a lot of hard work, and it takes, especially if you work for a company, you won't get a chance to design. And most of the people, they never get a chance to design because the principal of the firm will be designing the project. They will have a meeting with the client, and they will sit down, they will go over the scope of the project, and then they will sketch it out, he or she. And then once the design is final, that's when you will just so most of the people, they don't design that much in the field. It's only the owner of the firm or the main the project architect or who will be designing.
I see. Okay. So have you encountered any challenges or like obstacles within your profession of your years, and how did you overcome them?
I used to have my own design build firm as well. So it was for I had a business partner, and we were designing and doing the construction as well. So that was challenging, and it was just because we were fixing and flipping homes. Our company will buy rundown houses, and we'll design the whole house, remodel everything. So, and do the structural, do the addition and stuff like that. So that was a bit too much because I was doing the design, though my business partner, he was a contractor and an architect, and he was doing the construction. He was seeing to the workers and everything, but I was still getting involved. So it was a bit too much, doing the design and the construction, design build. So I think that was really challenging. I enjoyed at the same time because we were picking up finishes, and it was our own project and all of that. But I mean, we were doing like three houses at the same time. So financially too, it was very stressful at the same time. So I won't recommend doing that.
I see.
Yeah.
That's good advice. That's good advice. Thank you for that. What's like your career outlook of this profession? What do you foresee?
I think like now the career, especially the field is changing. The architecture field is changing, and especially when I started, there were not that many women in the field. So, and I had a discussion with someone a few weeks ago, and they were saying the same thing that, there are a lot more women in the field, which we didn't have 30 years ago, 25 years ago. So in the next, I'll say 5 to 10 years, you'll see a lot more women in the field and a lot more minorities in the field as well, which I mean, it wasn't there before. So there's a huge trend, shifting towards women in the field, which is like I'm really happy and excited about.
Mhm. Yeah. And so my other question was, you talked about the misconception of math being a very important role as an architect. Is there any other misconceptions you would like to clarify?
Uh, I think that's the main thing. When most of the people, they don't know what architects do. So, that's the biggest challenge within the field because if you ask any average person, like, about architecture or what architects do, they have no clue. They just think that either we're just kind of like, we're like number people, we're good in math, and that's what we do. But it's not, because the structural engineer takes care of the putting the whole structure together, making sure the building is not falling down. So, and the architect is more about aesthetic, how it's looking symmetrical, beautiful, and visually it's appealing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think that's the main misconception when it comes to the career.
Mhm. For sure. So any other advice just for people that are considering this profession?
Yeah, it's a great profession, a lot of hard work, and I think you have to have passion for the career. And I mean, the best way to start will be to start in any architectural office. I'll highly recommend before people even going to college, that everybody should just have a summer internship at any of the architectural office before you even enroll in a college 5-year degree program, because that will I think that will set the bar. You will know what to expect and what it is to be an architect and what it takes to be an architect. So just like I think maybe maybe two summer programs will be good, in high school.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'll suggest.
that's a really good suggestion. I think a lot of people are trying to find interns and then they can either never find one, or some people don't even know that there's like opportunities out there. So as a follow-up question, do you know anywhere where we could find it, or like how do you get like to find an internship?
I think the best way is just call the local architects. Going through the yellow pages, or now it's everything is on the internet. So just searching the architects like in Chandler, or in Scarsdale, or in Gilbert, and just write down like 10 or 15 architects numbers, and just call them
Mhm.
and say that you're in high school and you want to start a profession in architecture. You're thinking of doing an internship, like even if it's unpaid. I'll highly recommend, because I think it'll help you a lot, or anybody who's thinking of going into architecture. And a lot of companies, you will be surprised, they will be willing to take summer interns. So even if it's just like for a month or 2 months, or like however time period they can give, I think anybody should take it.
Yeah. So my final question is, do you have any advice for high schoolers just in general, not just specific to this profession, but just in general for high schoolers out there?
I'll say this is the best time of your career, or because this time is never going to come back. So you're in high school, just focus. And if you're thinking of working and all of that, I'll say instead of working I mean, any job is important, right? But if you're thinking of a career, then try to see if you can get internship, even the engineering too. It's not just architecture. If somebody wants to be an engineer, like mechanical engineer, or any other engineer, so just to call engineering companies, the areas you're interested in, and just to check with them, if they will allow just non-paid internship, even just for like couple of weeks or couple of months during summer. I think that'll be great to
Mhm.
have that kind of experience, instead of getting though the I mean, a lot of high schoolers, they go to like a pizza place to work for just for a few hours and stuff like that to earn pocket money. That is important, but I'll think that I'll say instead of doing that, if you can just focus on the career and pick the internship instead of working at Target or any, though that human skills are important too, that those soft skills are important, but if you have the opportunity, then why not use it in your field?
Yeah, that's a great answer to that. Thank you so much for your advice. That's all of the questions I had today. I learned a lot from you, and I hope that you all learned a lot too. If you have any questions for Mrs. Jafar about architecture or anything in general, feel free to comment down below and I'll let her know. Stay tuned for the next speaker on this channel. Thank you.